We start with the Housing Secretary, Sean Donovan, who's just new to Washington, but has been dealing with housing problems for a long time. He used to work for Mayor Bloomberg in New York, among other things. Mr. Secretary, thank you for coming. Let's get right to it. The president unveiled this plan. It is designed to help people who are having trouble with their mortgages. It actually provides subsidies to people who don't have much equity in their homes. But there was a storm of criticism almost immediately. People began to say, and it spread across the internet, why should people who made bad judgments, why should people who made loans they knew they couldn't afford, why should I now be subsidizing them when I have played by the rules, made a mortgage, made a loan that I could afford? Why should it be up to me to subsidize these people? So let's start with that. Why should other people be subsidizing these people who made bad judgments and bad decisions?
Well, first of all, what I want to say, and the president made this very clear on Wednesday in Phoenix, is that we have designed this plan to make sure that the folks who did take advantage of people, whether it was lenders or speculators or flippers, that they're not eligible for this plan. Only owner-occupants who live in their homes are eligible, and we're going to make very sure by checking incomes, by verifying. We're not going to have any more of these liar loans where you didn't even have to present your income, or you could easily present income that wasn't checked. We're going to have a very strict program to make sure that people who participate are what they say they are, and we're not going to benefit those who took advantage before.
But why is this fair to people who have played by the rules? What's in it for them?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that question, because I think there's been a lot of focus on a piece of the plan, but without either reading or looking at the broad plan. There are three parts to the plan. First, the largest and in many ways the most important part of the plan is up to $200 billion that will help keep mortgage rates low in this country for everyone. Today, we have mortgage rates, because of actions that the Obama administration has taken, that are as low as we've had in a generation. We have to keep those mortgage rates low, because anybody who's got good credit, who wants to go out and buy a new home or refinance, they benefit by having those low mortgage rates. That's the biggest, most important part of the plan.
And that's money you're going to funnel into Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac?
It's a backstop to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who today are responsible for about 2/3 of all mortgages that get made in the United States. So it's critically important. We have a longer term discussion to have about what we need to do with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. There were plenty of mistakes made in the past, but right now, to get us out of this current crisis, we need low interest rates. There's broad bipartisan agreement on that, and this is a way to do that. So that's the first part of the plan, and that benefits everyone. The second part of the plan is we're going to allow folks who are playing by the rules, who have made every payment, but are underwater because housing values in their neighborhoods have declined, to refinance. Today, they may be holding a 7 or 8% mortgage rate, and they can't benefit from today's 5% rates. Again, they played by the rules. Only people who are current on their mortgage can qualify for that refinancing. And then the third part of the plan is our modification plan. That's $75 billion. And that is the one directed at people who are struggling the most. But let's be clear, this may have started as a mortgage crisis, but today what's really driving foreclosures is people losing their jobs, not being able to pay for their health care. We have millions of families across this country, through no fault of their own, that are in trouble on their mortgages. We're going to stop speculators from getting in the plan, but we've got to make sure that folks who have played by the rules and are struggling can get some help. And by the way, let's remember that every time there's a foreclosure, a next door neighbor loses value in their house too. This plan, if we don't move forward with it, we think we'll see an additional $6,000 drop on average in every single homeowner's house in America. So this benefits, by stopping foreclosures, this benefits everyone.
Do you have any idea how many foreclosures you can forestall with this?
Well, our estimate is that if we take no action today, we've got about 6 million foreclosures coming over the next 3 years. We had 2.2 million last year. We're looking at a rate this year of close to 3 million foreclosures this year alone. So the problem is getting worse. 45% of all sales of homes in the U.S. in December were distressed sales, and that's just pushing values lower. So we think we can stop with this plan, with just the modification portion, 3 to 4 million foreclosures. We're not going to save everybody, but we can save the folks who are willing to keep paying and work hard. And in addition to that, we can help between 4 and 5 million homeowners who are underwater but are current on their mortgage, they're doing everything right and playing by the rules. We can help 4 to 5 million of those refinance as well to lower rates. On average, they'll save $2,600 a year.
Let me just ask you this, because as I understand the plan, you will help people who the value of their house has gone down and they suddenly find they owe more on their mortgage than the house is worth, but only to a certain point. It's my understanding that it would be just slightly under what the mortgage is worth now. Those are the people you could help, but people who have seen a huge drop in how much their house is worth, this plan won't help them. Now, why not?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that question, because there has been some confusion about that. The refinancing part of our plan is for people who are between about 80% and 105% loan to value. What that means is their mortgage is somewhere between 80% of the value of their house and 105%. The folks who are more deeply underwater than that, let's say they've got a house that's worth $200,000 and they've got a mortgage that's $250,000 or more, the truth is just a refinancing isn't really going to help them. Those are the folks who are eligible if they're going to make their payments for our modification program, where we will bring down the payment to an affordable level. So the 3 different aspects of the plan work together to reach everyone who we think is deserving and needs help today.
You're also talking about encouraging Congress to allow a bankruptcy referee to actually modify a mortgage, which is something they haven't been able to do. In other words, you'd reduce the amount of money that the person owes. Isn't that going to discourage lenders from making more loans?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about this, Bob, is that today, if you have a second home or a vacation home, if you've got multiple homes, those homes, the debts can be modified in foreclosure. It's only for people who have one home and are living in it and are in trouble where you can't have a modification of that loan in bankruptcy. So as the president said in Phoenix, this is just an issue of fairness, but we also have to do it right to make sure that we don't hurt the mortgage market. And what we've proposed, and we're working with Congress on, is a modification for loans that are in existence now, the ones that have caused all the trouble. We're not talking about applying this to loans going forward, and we think doing that means that it's not going to affect in any significant way mortgages in the future. It won't hurt the mortgage market going forward.
Do you at this point think the Congress will go along with that?
We're in discussions, and there seems to be growing consensus that this is an important part of the solution. I want to be clear, though, as well, we don't think that bankruptcy court is the answer to the problem. We think, and that's why we announced an aggressive plan this week to modify loans, we think we've got to get these things worked out before they ever get to bankruptcy, that's just a last resort.
All right, Mr. Secretary, I want to wish you the very best. I think everybody hopes that you're going to succeed on this.